Giant Rebel. Here we are, the mecca of life. Muscleworks Orpington, my second home. It's probably not my second home. My second home is probably McDonald's in the off season. I think we're a week, just over a week post Tampa, where I got second place to Dexter Jackson, which is quite an incredible experience. I got a call out with just myself and Dexter. From the feedback I had, it was quite a questionable, like it could have gone either way, which is really nice to hear. Because for me personally, I wasn't overly happy with how I looked. The condition was great. Tan could have been a bit darker, and I was quite flat. I think that's just because we were pushing that condition. So I know that's something like we can improve on for the Olympia. So I think we're just under 5 weeks to the Olympia now, and it is official. We're officially on the list. Contract is signed. It's quite surreal. I'm quite looking forward to getting an Olympia jacket. In fact, that's all I care about. I might not even do the show. I might just put the jacket on and fuck off home. But yeah, just to see my name on the on that list, on the actual official list on MrOlympia.com, it was quite emotional seeing that because I've worked really hard for this. So it was quite nice to finally see my name where I feel it belongs. So we've got 5 weeks to get better. 5 weeks of hard training. Chris has put my food up a little bit, filled me out. So I was 270 this morning, so I'm probably about 15, 16 pounds heavier than I was in Tampa. Obviously a lot of that's going to be, well, pretty much all of that's fullness and water weight. So I've got 5 weeks of hard training left. In terms of my leg training, Joe Bennett, the hypertrophy coach, he's been very kind enough to help me out with my leg training leading into the Olympia. Because I mean, I've had a little bit of a niggle in my left knee, and I'm really obsessed with just training heavy, which I need to move away from, especially with leg training, because I don't think it's necessary. So today we start with leg curls. I worked up to one working set where I did a heavy set to failure, then did a drop to failure, and then partials to failure, followed by a 15-second like dynamic stretch, and that sucks. Today we're doing hack squat, which each week I alternate between safety bar squats and hack squats. This week it's hack squat. Shooting between 5 and 7 reps, and the working set here will be leaving 1 or 2 reps in the tank. So we still want to get the load, but I don't want to just fry myself and fuck my joints up. Then we're going to leg extension, which we're going to go pretty ballistic on the leg extension, which will do 2 heavy, not heavy, but 2 really hard working sets, which will work up to a heavy set to failure, drop set to failure, partials to failure, do that twice. And then we'll go to leg press, work up to a really heavy working set with a drop set and partials on there as well. And that is it for today. So let's crack on this hack squat, let's get warmed up. Let's get these old man knees warmed up. Because I turned 31 last week, which means I nearly qualified for a free bus pass. Which, if you don't know what that means, it means I'm really old. The remnants of tan, the battle scars of a competitor. I'd probably train for the whole of September to catch a bit of a rebound, have October, November and December off. Or I'll probably just have November, December off and then pick it up in January. So I'm gonna jump into a work set here. I mean, for me, this is nowhere near as heavy as I can go. But with some of the form tweaks we've done, like the slowing it down, pausing, just changing things. Because the purpose is we're trying to load the muscle. I'm not trying to grow at the moment. Progressive overload's not necessary. So this is, when you hear people say, train smarter, not harder, this is what they mean. There's no doubt this is going to be really fucking hard, but fingers crossed I don't hurt myself. Because most of the times I'll go up to maybe 8, sometimes 9 plates on here, but the time of year where that's needed in terms of when I'm trying to grow, that's not where I am right now. So that's where you got to start using your brain, because your brain is technically, no, it's definitely not a muscle. If my brain was a muscle, I'd be training it right now. Brain training. So I'm trying to be a bit smarter, which is rare for me. Doesn't come naturally being smart. Funny thinking about making this Olympia, hearing a lot of the predictions. You know, a lot of people, I've heard a lot of well-known people in this industry said I have the potential to make it into the top 5 or even maybe in the top 3 this year, like if everything comes together. You know, if that happens, I'm going to be almost, I wouldn't say set for life, but it's going to change my life forever. And my entire bodybuilding life, I've been told so many times by fucking everyone, not everyone, but so many people have just said, you're never going to make it. You'll never make a career. You'll never be an Olympian. You'll never be one of the best. You'll never do this. You'll never do that. There's never any money in it. Make sure you've got a plan B, which is good advice. Yeah, you'll never do this. And it's a nice fuck you to all those people that told me I wouldn't be able to do this. You know, I remember actually a couple of years ago, I said to my dad, he was like, why are you doing this? And I said, I want to be top 10 in the world one day. And he just sniggered at me. I don't think he meant it in a rude way. I think he just kind of like, and I don't want to be top 10 in the world. I want to be number 1. You know, and if I ever get to that point, it'll be just incredible, because I've never been given anything. I've done everything I've done to get to this point. I've done it myself. I've never had any handouts. I've never had anyone do anything for me. I've always cooked my own meals. I've always driven myself. I've always organised and done everything myself. So to get to this point it kind of reaffirms in my mind that, like, as much as like Instagram motivational quotes are utter bollocks, if you're good at something and you put your mind to it and you really do persevere and give it everything you have and don't run away every time you fail, it will amount to something. And I feel right now I'm only just getting started. And I feel like I'm finally coming into my own. So the next few years for me is going to be exciting. So yeah, so anyone out there who's watching this who told me I can't do it, fuck you. It's funny, you always get people that say to you, it must really hurt being like that, which is a weird thing to say, because no, it doesn't hurt, but it certainly isn't comfortable. But think about it like this: contest prep, you're starving, you're tired, you're moody, like all your joints hurt, you're not as strong as you usually are, you're weak, you feel weak, you're like 1 minute you're really happy with how you look, the next minute you're like, oh, I look shit. So you're all over the place. And in the off season, you're tired, you're moody, and you're stuffed, and you feel like shit, and your lower back's all pumped up. So really, I mean, there's about 6 weeks of the year where you feel good, which I'm not really selling it to you. If any of you beginners are out there, the truth is, it's not comfortable bodybuilding. It's not. You either, I mean, let's just look at the food. You're either starving or you're stuffed. There's very rarely any in between. And I honestly don't know. I actually think I prefer being hungry than stuffed. And then, I mean, there's just little things like that people don't take into account. I can't buy any clothes off the rack. I've never worn a suit in my life, and to wear a suit now is going to be incredibly difficult. And even if I did buy a suit now, I'd look like a knob in it. You ever seen a bodybuilder look good in a suit? Yeah, me neither. So yeah, you can't buy nice clothes. If I wanted a nice car, which I don't care, I can't fit in it. Airline like seats, can't really fit in them properly. I can't go on roller coasters with my kids. You know, so there's lots of things that people don't take into account. But it's the best feeling ever doing this. Like knowing that all of this work and all this effort and this image I've had in my mind for years that I've been like every day working towards and seeing it come into fruition, there is nothing better. You know, it's the same with if you're in any aspect of life, anything you decide to put your all in, whether you, like I always go back to this, if you're learning an instrument and then you start getting to the point where you're actually as good as you want to be, the fun, the satisfaction you get from it's incredible. And it makes all those days of feeling like shit, the frustration, the discomfort, it makes all of it worth it. But yeah, there's nothing comfortable about bodybuilding. But if you want to be good, really good, anything, it's not comfortable. Just go and ask somebody who's like a fucking gymnast or a ballerina. Go and ask a ballerina how comfortable it is being the best at that. When they're being forced into doing the splits and their toes are just fucked all the time. But it's worth it. To take yourself to the extreme in anything that's difficult. Even academics. If you're studying for a degree, it's really difficult. The amount of, like, you have to sacrifice sleep, you have to sacrifice your social life. You have to sacrifice everything for that goal. But I tell you, when you get there and you know you didn't leave any stone unturned, you just did everything you could to get to that goal and you achieve it, makes it all worth it, every time. And there is no better feeling. And trust me, when you get to that end result and you don't get what you want and you know you've skipped and cut corners, you then realise how shit that feels. So if you're going to really go for something, do not skip anything, do not cut corners, make sure you give it your all, because at the end of the day you've only got to answer to yourself and you're going to make yourself feel like a right dick if you haven't given everything you've got. So we got to a heavy set. Let's go about 10 to 12 to failure. Strip 2 plates off either side, go back in, go again to failure, full reps, and then I'm going to do a set of partials on the, so we're going to rack it, and I'm going to bring it down to the rack and just do like the top end to failure, that's it.